Yeah, disappointing outing for us. Hung in there that 17-minute mark into the second quarter, and they made that run. They shot the ball extremely well. My understanding, was it 15 for 23?
16 for 22.
Thank you for the eyes. And that's just tough to combat. Game plan I thought was solid. We just didn't contest the three-point line. Appreciated the fight the kids had that last section in the fourth quarter, but we continually just have to put more minutes together.
All right, we'll open it up for questions for either of the student athletes. Angel here in the second row.
Yeah, Coach just said that run towards the end of that second quarter. So how did that really change the game going into the last half of the game?
I think we just kind of lost our bearings for a little bit, and that's something that we've talked about that we need to stop doing. I think we just they obviously went on a run, and I think we got kind of frazzled, and then we were all kind of focused on our own man or trying to score, that we weren't executing our game plan. So that's why I think they got a couple shots in the transition, and they were threes, and that's something we've talked about all week, not letting them do, and that's how they score a lot of their points. And I think we just we got to lock in those moments. Coach Fahey always talks about when one team makes a punch, we can't just sink in, we have to punch back, even if it's a possession by possession. So
Yeah, I agree with what KB said. I think we just stopped focusing up in the last few minutes of the second half, and we can't afford that. And we have to just lock in and focus on the game plan. So
Yeah, and then Aaliyah, you were the only one for Illinois to get threes tonight. So as for the rest of the team, how do you see that? I guess, I don't know how to say it, but what do you tell your team? We need to make those threes. You need to get, or you guys need to get on my level and such.
I
don't want to make it sound selfish. But
Yeah. I think we just have to execute and knock down shots. And I understand I'm a big part of the scoring. So, that's where that comes from, just making the threes, getting open and setting up plays for me. So I think that's why I have so many. Or I just think we just need to execute the game plan and knock down shots. So.
Yeah, and then Kendall, no double digits for you in rebounds, but you still were very close. Were you off your game today, or was it just Ricky Waltman just had that presence under the bus?
No, I don't think there was any other really presence down there. I know Adalia and I think Jayla both rebounded really well too, so it was nice to have them kind of flying in. But yeah, it wasn't just me down there tonight. My teammates were crashing in, so I definitely think that kind of helped, and it also helped pushing the ball, they could get it and go. So yeah.
Yeah, and then speaking of Jayla and Adalia, they're two freshmen, but they're playing great out there. Mm-hmm. I know you guys are sophomores, but you're still counted as upperclassmen. Seeing players like that play tonight, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot to see them stepping up and being more confident, and we just try to keep pushing them along and teaching them. So yeah, I'm very excited for them to get going.
Yeah, I agree with Lee. Just kind of having them in the roles that they're in are big for freshmen. So the way they're handling it, obviously you have your freshman moments with, some decisions or whatnot, but I think overall they do a very good job of kind of helping our team when we need it.
Yeah, and then going back to that second quarter, you guys were on a run. You guys were going back and forth with Purdue, and then just Purdue went on that scoring run. So how do you go from really into the game and all of a sudden just trailing?
I think it's just we kind of we either get lackadaisical with the game plan, or we just stop doing what we're supposed to do because we're tired, mentally tired, that kind of thing. And that's when Coach has always said we've got to tell her, if we are tired or mentally, we've got to get ourselves out so that doesn't happen. But I think we just kind of lost our bearings a little bit, and we never really recovered in that half.
Mm-hmm.
And anything else for the student athletes today?
No.
All right. Kendall and Aaliyah, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
And we'll go ahead and open it up for questions for Coach Fahey whenever you're ready, Angel.
Coach, congratulations on your 1,000th game as a coach. Unfortunately, ended with a loss, but emotionally, how are you feeling about tonight?
It was an emotional night. It was, yeah, obviously. But the bottom line, I think these kids, I challenged them very at the beginning of the game about effort and that I wanted 40 minutes of effort. I think that when the game plan of obviously defending the 3-point line and chasing out those guys and they had an elite shooting night. We made some mistakes. I think that's what sometimes happens when you see that ball keep going in from the 3-point line. That's hard to keep, kind of like you got to keep bouncing back, and that bounce didn't really happen in the third quarter. Really hurt us. And like I said, when someone's shooting 60-some% from three, now we have to take ownership of the fact that we didn't defend the three like we had planned. So I mean, Layden is an elite shooter. That if she comes off that, she can shoot it quick. There was players tonight that statistically did surprise us from the 3-point line. So the game plan is defend the 3-point line. That's all I can say. And then when that broke down, I think that really hurt us mentally.
Yeah, and then obviously Janae Terry just transferred to Purdue, and now you're playing against her, ironically enough, in your 1,000th game. How does it feel as a coach to always come up against players that you formerly had coached? Janae played here. Now she has a Purdue uniform on, and at that point she was number 10, and that's how we approached it. It's this is part of the new world of the transfer portal, and we understand that. And so I don't think we're the first group that's going to have. I mean, Kendall did the same thing at Michigan State, and I just think it's the reality of stuff. And I appreciate her years here, but she had a Purdue uniform on today, so we went and played. Yeah, and then you've been saying that right now, like blocking from the arc and containing from the three was just not happening tonight. And what did you tell your team to like make sure they really dug it into themselves to try and block from there?
Part of it is that Layden and Moore and Ellis all not only can shoot the three, they can put the ball on the floor. That's what's created their speed off the bounce. Layden is crafty, and so when she shoots it, you get up all under her, but she's a crafty enough player that if you could, she could feel, hey, you're too tight. I'm going to take you to the rim. And then the other two just are very quick off the bounce, and so you had to defend the 3-point line. And contain that dribble. And what happens sometimes, we just, there was a couple times where they came to the middle and our help down, their instinct was to help, and trust me, we weren't supposed to. Jayla Smith, shot the ball really well today, which, just statistically was a little bit more of a surprise for us. So, I mean, and then I think that what happened, what disappoints me a little bit is when we just don't take care of the ball, and it's like only 12 turnovers. I just didn't like the laziness of the turnovers at times. And so that's something that we can talk about. But these kids, trying to follow the game plan, there's statistics that are good, but we just need to put this together because these one quarters are just burying us right now.
And then, so how do you want to combat those just like one quarter performances and turn them into a consistent 4 or even 3 of 4?
Well, one thing we're talking about here is as you go through this, if you were even talking about yourself, there's 2 freshmen out there playing. These 2 are, 2 sophomores. And, they're learning to play with each other, learning to see how tough this Big Ten is. Going from senior high school to playing at the Big Ten level, that's a big jump. And the consistency of that and the experience, and we're kind of going through it and living it live, where and that's fine, but it's going to, there's like early in the third quarter, I had Jayla and Adalia out there because I thought they played pretty well in that run in the first and second. Then the 2 people came together and they both looked at each other and the kid shot a 3. And I kind of looked at them and I'm like, yeah, 2 freshmen. And they kind of looked at each other and went, oh yeah, but that's something I got to clean up because that's what we got to be able to do, for 40 minutes. And I'm not, youth is youth. We're good, but sometimes you just got to live through some of this stuff.
Yeah, and it's a big stretch of just conference games leading up until March, and you keep saying consistency, and is the team ready to really get to that 3 to 4 quarter consistency?
Well, that's why we're going to go back to work tomorrow. Consistency, game plan, locking in, focus. That's all it's something that's talked about daily.
Right. Coach, that's all I got. Thank you.
That's all I got.
All right. Thanks, everyone.